Previously on
Maia's life.
MinnAnimate. So it's been a while since I've done one of these car vlogs, and I apologize if I'm a bit rusty. Around this time of year, there is normally a film festival in Toronto called TIFF, or the Toronto International Film Festival. I'm really sad I can't be there this time of year, so instead I'm going to go to another film festival in Minnesota, because they're actually screening one of my videos. Well, not my video exactly. It was a video collaboration between Greg and Leah and me and the Autistic Advocacy Network. You may remember in April that we produced a PSA for Autism Acceptance Month called Stop Combating Me. I'll put a link to the video in the description below, but the video was recently accepted into a film festival, which is mental. The film festival is called MinnAnimate, which takes place every September in Minneapolis, and it showcases animated films made in and around Minnesota. So I'm going to go to Minneapolis, attend the festival, and after the screening of the video, I guess the creators get to come up on stage for a Q&A to talk about their work. So I'm doing that on behalf of wearestelmosfire and the Autistic Advocacy Network. Honestly, I'm terrified to do it. Talking in front of a crowd, unscripted, is not my specialty. I'm actually not driving to Minneapolis today. I'm taking the bus because I haven't taken a bus for that long of a trip before. It's going to be a 5-hour trip. Should be interesting. Yeah, let's go to Minneapolis.
The bus ride to Minneapolis wasn't bad at all. The Wi-Fi worked surprisingly well, and when I got bored of checking Twitter, I'd stare out the window and take in the scenery, which isn't something I get to do often since I'm normally in the driver's seat. I arrived in Minneapolis a couple hours before the screening, so I made a point to grab dinner at Kramarczuk's Deli, which was a filming location for the Mighty Ducks movies. The Polish cuisine was pretty dope. Just a short walk from the deli was the St. Anthony Main Theater, where the screening would take place. Nestled in a historic part of the city, the theater was right on the bank of the Mississippi River. I loved walking around this quaint little neighborhood, just across the river from the looming buildings that made up the modern Minneapolis skyline. I arrived at the screening early and got to speak with the curator of the festival, who seemed pretty excited when I told him I was representing the team behind Stop Combating Me. During the screening, I got to see some brilliant works of animation from some crazy talented filmmakers. When Stop Combating Me finally appeared on screen, my heart started pounding at 1,000,000 miles a minute. I couldn't even pay attention. All I could think was, OMG, real people in a real theater are watching something I helped make. Is this real life?
Aspiring filmmaker. And autistic.
Afterwards, the curator hosted a Q&A in which the filmmakers could speak to the audience about their work. I didn't have my camera out during this part, but I did manage to record this soundbite off my phone.
Hi, I'm Maia. I wrote, directed, and provided the voiceover for Stop Combating Me. I come from a team of video vloggers, and in April we were approached by the Autistic Advocacy Network to produce a PSA for them. And so I kind of turned the PSA into a story, and then my friend Greg designed the images through a graphics tablet in Photoshop, and then my friend Leah animated those images in After Effects. And so Greg and Leah and Lisa are pretty out here for all of our work.
The next morning, I spent time exploring the University of Minnesota campus, where I expected school rivalries to play into how I was treated there. Whether it was Minnesota niceness or something else, no one seemed annoyed that I was walking around with a Wisconsin Badgers backpack. Gophers, as much as it hurts me to admit it, you're okay in my book, and your campus is lovely. That afternoon, I took the light rail to downtown Minneapolis. I walked across the Stone Arch Bridge, where you could see the old flour mill, as well as the St. Anthony Falls. I also took a bus to the Sculpture Garden, where I got to see, among other things, the iconic Spoonbridge and cherry sculpture. Less than a day after my arrival to Minneapolis, I had to catch the bus back to Wisconsin. The ride back wasn't as smooth. Between highway accidents and a lost bus driver, the trip took a couple hours longer than normal. So I had lots of time to reflect back on the last 24 hours. This trip was, for me, a trip of firsts. It was the first time I had taken a bus to travel somewhere far, rather than car or plane. It was the first time I traveled to a city where I didn't have a plan and I hadn't studied the public transportation system beforehand, instead relying solely on Google Maps for navigation. and it was the first time standing in a room of creative peers that I felt comfortable calling myself a filmmaker. For an unplanned trip, where a lack of control and the unpredictable tend to make me anxious, I came out of it feeling more secure about my place in this world and where I was heading. Before the trip, I still wasn't sure if a creative career was something I should pursue. But being able to talk confidently about my work, with this level of excitement and passion, makes me think that I'm on the right path. I still don't know what the future holds for me, but this path that I'm on right now, in this moment, feels more right than anything else. It's not going to be a smooth trip. There will be bumps, roadblocks, and delays, but it will be personally fulfilling. Otherwise, what's the point?